So the BMW S1000RR is our performance bike of the year, and the BMW i7 is one of the best of 2023. Joining me today to accept the award is Mr. Vikram Pawah, Group President, BMW India. Vikram, congratulations.
Thank you, Dhruv.
Always
Thank you.
good to see you.
Always good to see you as well.
Especially when you bring such beautiful machines.
Of course, that's what we're known for, right? The best machines in the world.
So they're two very different machines in character, but they both have a BMW badge. So what's the DNA that binds them?
I think for BMW, the DNA is fairly simple: joy, right? Every machine that we make has to have the essence of joy, be it our cars, which deliver the sheer driving pleasure, or the bikes, which make you feel like I want to make life a ride. I mean, that's exactly the sentiment we try to convey through the products that we make. So I think the i7 is now showing you what joy means in electric.
Yeah.
And I think the S1000RR has always been a racetrack favorite. I don't think you get better bikes than this one on a racetrack.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you're absolutely right. That is the common denominator. And with the S1000, you expect it. But even with an i7, a big luxury electric sedan, you still get that joy of driving, which is pretty amazing.
I think if you remember, we launched the iX, maybe around 18 months ago, and then we launched the i4 in a very dynamic format.
Yeah.
You could see that, doing the drifts and all the stunts that a normal ICE engine would do. So I think we promised at that time that the driving dynamics and the sheer driving pleasure doesn't disappear with the BEVs, and I think we're delivering on that. The i7 has taken actually not only the driving dynamics and performance, but also the luxury to the next level. So you can see how performance, electric, sustainability, and luxury can all blend into one. And that's exactly what we want to do with all our products, is take everything to the next level for the next generation, which is looking at the new values in products.
So it has so many things, the i7, it's a paradigm shift. It brings so much to the table. What's the one thing that customers, now that it's been on sale for a little while, are telling you that just blows them away?
I think first thing that blows them away is when they sit inside and look at the luxury and technology merging together. I mean, that is phenomenal. Nobody could imagine that, you could have touch technology, you could have these big screens, and you can have such kind of an ambience built into luxury, and you still feel like you're absolutely sitting in a first-class cabin. Yeah. So I think that's what I've seen. I've seen people getting into the car, sitting down, just calling up their dealer where the book that said, sorry, I'm cancelling my other car, I'm just buying this now. And there's a long wait for these cars, so really appreciate that the customer is actually happy to wait for this wonderful product.
And I mean, at a flagship end especially, you've seen so much demand for your EVs. Is there still place for an ICE-powered flagship model when you've got cars like the i7 in the portfolio?
7 Series is a flagship ICE as well. So I think we promised customers that no matter at what price point we are, we would provide them the power of choice. They will have an electric car. They will have a traditional petrol engine, a diesel engine, and maybe if India requires even a plug-in hybrid. So we'll have all these offers available. And then if you look at the 7 Series now, both available in petrol, diesel, and electric, fully in the spec that you want. So yeah, I will live up to our promise to make sure that no matter if it's a flagship or entry level, everything will have the right drivetrains for the customer.
And plug-in hybrids, because you have them internationally, not in India. Is there any plan for that, perhaps?
I mean, we'll bring it in if there is demand for it. At the moment, what I see, depending on the taxation structure that's available for the plug-in hybrids, there is no benefit for the customer. So the customer has to shell in more, pay more, and I don't see the cost economics working for that. So that's why we don't bring it in.
And on the Motorrad front, the S1000, of course, is at the rarefied end of the spectrum.
Well, there's beyond that as well. M1000RR, you know that, right? Yeah.
But what about at the lower end of the spectrum? What's the future of Motorrad? What's next?
So I think we created that market, 5 or 6 years ago, right? We started building that market in what we call as the smart CC for the young Indian population that's coming through and that wants to have, fantastic products at the bottom end of the pyramid as well. So 310RR, the 310R and the 310GS are our platforms there. Fantastic products, do really well still the leaders in those segments, and we're really happy that people follow us into that segment now. But actually what we're seeing now over the last 5 years is people migrating upwards. So we see growth not only in the entry-level segment in the Motorrad, but also in what we call as the core bikes, which is above 500cc. So it's a fantastic transition that's happening in the country, and I think it's the right way to move along.
And you mentioned the GS, that's another icon in your range. The R1300 GS, can we expect that in India anytime soon?
Of course we will get it. Of course we will get it. I mean, there are normal timelines when we bring these products into India. I think that's a unbeatable, a benchmark product in adventure sports. So of course we'll keep on exciting our customers in India with new products as well.
And coming back to four wheels, last time we sat down, we were talking about the M2, and I'm a huge fan, as you know, of the manual.
Of the manual, absolutely.
So how is the manual doing versus the automatic? Because that's an experiment for the first time in India.
So it's a good take rate. I mean, those purists who want the manual, who are used to it, they love that. So we get to see a good demand of manual in there. But of course, there are the new people who are getting into the M brand. For them, it's the automatic that goes. So I think it's a good ratio that's developing over the world now, not only in India. So it's the right experiment, I think, and no better product than M2. I think that's exactly where people wanted. Yeah. I mean, I drove one of those M2 recently in Spain on a racetrack. It was fantastic, really, absolutely fantastic.
That's the right place to drive it.
Yeah, that's getting back to the old days, actually. Yeah.
So coming to Mini for a second, because that's part of the group, it's got a very aggressive sort of electrified future ahead of it. Any risk of putting all your eggs in one basket by going all electric?
No, I don't think so. I think what we're hearing from the Mini customers is that they've always been trendsetters. When you go way back to the history of Mini, finding a small car during those days of crisis was a trend, right? People follow that curve, people follow that fashion. So I think what we hear from them is that that generation wants to go and move into fully electric. Of course, there is still time frame for it. It's not that we are happening tomorrow. And we see that adoption already. So if I look at my Mini electric sales, which we launched last year as well, we're already up to 15% sales. Yeah. And that's a very quick adoption in a country like India. Yeah. So, and with the new generation coming through over next year, I think you'll see a fantastic adoption of electric. And I think that's the right approach. So Mini brand being electric is a flagship, saying that, that's the new trend.
Yeah. Looking ahead at 24, it seems like there's a lot of global volatility at the moment, geopolitically. Do you think that will have any impact on the Indian market in terms of economic uncertainty going forward?
I think at the moment what we see, all the signs indicate that India is in a very stable situation. Be it from economic front, from a growth perspective, from a political stability, or even socio-economic and geopolitical situation. I think it's a quite stable situation. So that should help us tide over, which has been the case in the last 1 year as well, if you look at it. And that's why we see good traction of demand still on there in the Indian market. I expect that to continue, and I think it always said depends on the products that you launch as well. Demand is always stimulated by the excitement that you can create. Yeah. So I expect, for us at least, it's going to be a fantastic 2024 as well.
And like you said, it's dependent on the product. So how do you see the Indian customer in terms of behavior? How has that changed in the last decade or so? Is brand as important as it used to be, or is it now the latest, greatest product that's available?
I think for India, I think we have to acknowledge that we are a different value-driven market. Yeah. Okay, as a society, our values are different than the rest of the world, and we are proud of it, being Indian. And you can see that values being projected on a global format as well in various forums. So for me, I think the practicality of the product comes first, and then the brand, and that's exactly what we are delivering now. Be it electric vehicles, be it luxury vehicles, be it entry-level vehicles, you would see that they're much more practical for Indian customers, for our needs, for our families, because we're still a family-driven society, not an individual-driven society. So I think after addressing that, we can see a lot of people actually getting into premium now. And I keep on giving this example that 3/4 of our customers who buy the X1 today, and that's the new generation X1, are actually first-time premium buyers. Yeah. And that shows that, what a new product that is longer in its wheelbase, that's much more spacious, has all the new technology in it, and still has the power and fuel consumption combination, which is important for a Indian customer, even in premium, makes a huge difference. Yeah.
And you had a big year in 2023. Another big year expected in 24?
Always. We are on a growth path. I think I made this statement after end of September, when we had a record 3 quarters, a record September sales. Yeah. So we're headed for a record 2023 for sure. We are riding a growth story here, and I think this growth story is yet to be finished.
Good. Well, I think that's a good place to end, and I hope that this growth story continues. And thank you for bringing us such incredible machines.
Thank you, Dhruv. Always appreciate your appreciation. Thank you.